Hello, Bernie, my little cherub. How are you today? Welcome to Introbiz Global Summit.
Hello, Tracy. Yes, I'm great.
Good
Awesome.
stuff. Good stuff. Well, it's great to have you here as always. So, for those that don't know Bernie, I mean, you won't, once you know her, you'll never forget her. She's an awesome, super powerhouse speaker, and she's with us today. She's the Introbiz franchisee down in Swansea in West Wales. Absolutely smashing it out of the park. You've got the TED Talks that you're doing down there. She does Your Business Your Way. She's a co-author, or you're an author, sorry, not co-author. You're an author of your own books, Amazon #1 bestseller. You've now created your own publishing company as well. So you're doing that. Oh, amazing what you're doing, Bernie. So proud of you. And I think during the pandemic, I think one thing that we've all realized, you've got to have multiple income streams in your business. And it's so important to to have lots of fingers in lots of pies, and you're doing that. You're really doing an amazing job. So I'm really going to hand everyone to you now, because you really are a powerhouse. You're amazing at what you do. You're going to be talking about the CEO of your life, but obviously
being your own CEO.
Yeah, and we are, aren't we? And I just think what you're going to teach people today is going to make people think. So I'm going to hand you over and enjoy the Introbiz Global Summit. Over to you, Bernie.
Awesome. Well, guys, I've got to follow that introduction. I hope I don't let Tracy down, but I'm so pleased to be here to be a part of this incredible Introbiz Global Summit. And I am so excited to be sharing something that's my passion. It's about being your own CEO. What does that mean? We all want to be in charge, don't we? And as little girls, those of you who have been aspiring CEOs, you've been, you put your suits on and you look in the mirror. Yes, I am her. I am fantastic. But it is not so easy to be a CEO, and even more so to be your own CEO. So let me just start by telling you a story. And I'm going to tell you a story about a little girl, fourth of 5 children in a third world country, from a family which had first world dreams, ambitions. You've got to achieve, you've got to do what you need to do. And I had siblings. My siblings were powerhouses, and it was not easy, right? I would love to tell you that little girl was confident. I didn't spring up confident. I'd love to tell you that she didn't have people bullying her, calling her names, saying about her eyes that they were bulbous, calling them frog eyes. Her knees were bony. Her hair was red because she had natural highlights in her hair. That was one of the fun nomenclatures I had. They used to call me redhead. And I would love to tell you that little girl was running with the popular crowd and with all the cool girls. But that would all be a lie. You see, that little girl had struggles. She had struggles with understanding why people had to point out every little in fault, every little idiosyncrasy. And I think you would think that that little girl who went through bullying would have probably had things that were not going for her. But no, the little girl was from a well-to-do family. Mother professor at the university, and father big businessman, had all the trappings of life. But that little girl was still really subconscious, and not confident at all. So guys and girls, because we all are little girls still and little boys inside, do not think that the people you see going around that seem to be wealthy and have it all, or in these great positions and they seem to have it all, that they have it all together. Everybody struggles with that little girl, that little boy inside. And to make it worse for this little girl, her mother kept telling her, when she would go and complain about the way she was being treated at school, her mother would tell her, know yourself. You've got to know yourself. And I could not understand why that was the answer. Why do I need to know myself? She would tell me even in Latin, temet nosse. I'm like, come on now. I understand. And I felt unloved. I felt misunderstood and let down. But why was it so important for me to know myself? And how did I make that discovery? Let us talk. Because I can tell you guys that the single most important thing you could ever do and the most important gem you could ever find is yourself. Because by knowing yourself, you're in a position of power in life and in business. You're able to command your space. And do you know what else? When you know yourself and you actually come to terms with your greatness, then it allows you to also come to terms with your weaknesses. It allows you also to give grace to others. So let us empower the little girl and little boy in ourselves this morning. How do we do that? Or this evening, whenever you're watching, wherever you are in the world. It starts with the mind. I firmly believe that there's a battle for our minds every morning in the first 5 seconds or minutes we wake up in the morning, and he who wins that battle take the spoils. I don't know about you, but I don't want anybody taking my spoils. So at that time when you wake up in the morning and things start flooding into your mind, you remember, oh, you acclimatize. Yes, I'm at home, I'm in my bed. Yes, okay, I remember that thing that was said to me that I didn't quite like yesterday. I remember this project that is looming, that deadline that I have to face, that employee that's a little bit difficult. Stop, arrest those thoughts. Go to that place, that happy place. And that is why we need to create happy places for ourselves. Yes, whether it is a great book that we've read, some great soundbite we've heard, a great podcast we've read, or even something that we ourselves have told ourselves in the past that really inspired us. Go to that in your mind. Center your mind on that. And sometimes you need to speak it out. Because you've got to be, first and all, CEO of yourself. You are the first business you will ever manage. I let that sink in. You are the first business you will ever manage. Your thoughts, your insecurities, your hang-ups, your dreams, your ambitions, those are the things that you first have to manage before thinking about managing anybody else. If you do not manage yourself, you can manage no one. So manage your mind, think about your strengths, your shortcomings, embrace your shortcomings. What is the value of embracing your shortcomings, you will say? Okay, let me tell you. If you do not embrace your shortcomings, you will not be able to thrive in anything you do. Even as an entrepreneur, say you're just an entrepreneur, solopreneur, you need to understand the things that you don't do well because you cannot do everything. But you've got to give a full service, don't you? So what you've got to do is find cohorts. Surround yourself with people who have the skills that can complement yours. Very important. So you've got to build your network, which is why I am so proud and privileged to be the founder, not the founder, not the founder of the of the franchise. I am the owner of the franchise, Introbiz Swansea and West Wales. I am so pleased to own this franchise, and I'm so pleased to be a part of Tracy's dream, because in this that we built together in the region that's supporting the wider Introbiz UK is the whole wealth that is called social capital, your network, that if you leverage it properly will become your net worth. In your network, you will find the people who can do what you don't do well. Yes, then you might be asking me, right, I know you mentioned something about knowing yourself before, but okay, when you're going to get to the point? Well, let me get to the point now. How do you know yourself? Ask yourself, what moves me? What drives me? What makes me angry? What excites me? What is the thing that I cannot walk past without stopping and paying attention to when other people just carry on as if it doesn't exist? Those are indicators of who you are. Yes. Also, who inspires you? There's a clue. one of the exercises I have my clients go through, as Tracy mentioned, I also run Bernie Davies Global. And in Bernie Davies Global, I help businesses. So the businesses who come networking, who are not able to really be in that position of power and empowerment because they have not yet empowered that little girl or little boy inside, I work with them to get them to a place that they can maximize their networking opportunities. Okay? So I always ask them, think of somebody, 3 people who inspire you. And they'll tell me somebody from their childhood, maybe some celebrity, some real famous person. And then I'll ask them, what about this person? What traits in this person do you like? And they will list the traits. Almost always, the next step happens. They are able to find similarities between themselves and this person that inspires them in terms of personality traits. Because the thing is that you will not admire somebody if there's no resonance. So if you are admiring somebody, looking up to this great, fantastic achiever, and you're seeing qualities in them that you like, stop and ask yourself, has anybody told me that I'm like this? Do I think I'm like that? Oh, so there you start to get your confidence. Oh, actually, I do have something going for me. Then I have them to look as well on what other traits they have that are not similar to the people that they've mentioned. And then I say, so you see this now, what this happens, what this works out to. So you have the traits that are similar. So you realize you're not half bad, are you? You're just underselling yourself. And there's nothing stopping you from being great if you are excelling in the thing that moves and drives you, that resonates with you, and that is your passion. Not just doing something for money. Yes? And then when you put that other bit that is unique to you and you put that together, what a powerful product you've come up for yourself. That's what I call your U-print. That's what I call that thing that is unique to you. Just in the same way you have your own fingerprint and you have your own footprint, you have your unique U-print. And you leave one of those behind wherever you go, whether by default or on purpose. Guys, believe me. Yes? So why not purposefully and intentionally leave the best version of yourself, that best you print? Because let me tell you now, people buy you first before they buy what you're selling. And this is how you stamp your own mark within the marketplace. And it's all about control, being your own CEO of your life. That becomes the brand that you translate into your business brand and then into your company culture if you run an organization. Now, how did I discover all of that? It took that little girl, grew up to be a lawyer, still had insecurities, did very well, because a lot of us are limping along, doing very well, but not being our best self. Now, wouldn't you like to be your best self? Yes, I'm sure you do. So it's got to be about really focusing, really purposefully and intentionally creating your U-print and leaving it behind wherever you go. So 37 years old, I moved to the United Kingdom, first to Bradford, faced joblessness because I was told I was overqualified. And one of my U-prints kicked in. One of my U-prints is that I care. I am a carer. If I will, one of those things, remember I said earlier on about what's the thing that you can't walk past? I can't walk past a person in need and not stop to see how I can help. And that's one of the things that Tracy and myself have in common. That's one of the things that make us remain friends, despite, I mean, you know how friendships work, guys. There's always going to be that parting of ways and ideas sometimes, but it always comes back to what's at the heart of both of us, that we love people and we want to be there for people. So we are always going to be ending up finding that meeting point together and growing together. Yes, and that's you'll find that's where you have true strong relationships, guys. When you know what your core chords are that keep you together. Okay, so for me, I love to help people. So I was jobless. I used to go to this church, and the church had a great social outreach program, and they had a big city center offices. And I said to them, "Can I get one of your offices, please? Because I noticed there are a lot of people." Poor British people who are having great problems circumnavigating the social welfare system. There are a lot of asylum seekers and refugees around that need support. So I set up a charity, and for 3 years I supported and I helped. That act of helping caused me to have one of in fact, the most prestigious speaking engagement to date at the United Nations. Yes, that happened 3 years after I started. Then, at that point, I still didn't understand the Uprint concept. So I moved to Wales. And I moved to Wales after, of course, I by then figured out how to get my CV to be right, that avatar of the job I really want, and I got my first legal position. Fast forward 6 years on, I moved to Wales, and I was head of property and new law solicitors. That's where I met Tracy when I went out about networking, because I had to build the department. And I tell you guys, within 6 months of going out and about in and around Wales, South Wales, I was asked to speak at the National Conveyancing Congress, not about law, but how do you network and market your conveyancing department? Because I came to their attention. I was skyrocketed into all various positions because of the fact that I was doing business my way. My Uprint was out there. I started to ask people, and people started to ask me, why you? Why something's happening? And they're asking you as an expert to speak on BBC, to throw questions at Gordon Brown at the time, the then Prime Minister. And, when the laws were changing in conveyancing, you're the one that was asked to speak on it and on the radio and all of that. Why you? Why when the Regional South Chamber of Commerce was being launched, when other people are applying to be council members, you weren't invited? And then I started to pay attention. And I realized I was a Black woman, wasn't afraid to be myself. I was being my own CEO. I loved fancy nails, as you can see. Today I'm in white, and normally I'm in bright colors. Right? I always I make up loud, proud, funny. I didn't really care about if I did something wrong. I just didn't take myself seriously. But people started telling me, Bernie, you like people. You are interested in people. You give. You make people feel good when they leave your presence. I started to then realize, hang on a minute. This is who I am. I have been leaving this Uprint by default all along. I'm going to now start leaving it on purpose. It's not about being disingenuous, guys. It's about purposefully and intentionally creating that authentic version of yourself, because you've worked on yourself. You've exercised self-control in areas that you know are not right. You have dispelled certain things that do not in any way benefit you, and you develop that Uprint, develop that persona that you are proud to say is you. Okay? Now, let's fast forward now. It's not just now about you as your own CEO. When you can rule yourself, then you can start influencing people. This is where the power comes. So because you know who you are, then you can understand why, and you can let people know, why are you in business? This is me, and I'd like to help you by doing this for you. What are you doing, and what is it doing for them? Nobody really cares who you are and what you do. They want to know, what does what you do for them? Yes, how can you help them? And in the understanding of who you are and creating your unique, authentic Uprint and translating that into your business brand and culture, that informs and dictates how you deliver your service and how your staff represents you when they go networking and when they go out into the marketplace prospecting. It actually guides even how you act. You decide on your colors, your brand colors, what happens on your social media platforms. I don't think I need to tell you, but I will say, guys, you've got to remember, you can't be schizophrenic about this. If you are on your website in one particular way, then it should be streamlined across LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you and your business is represented. And it should also be the way you represent yourself. Okay, I have a story to tell you. I went once for lunch when the days that we could go out for lunch, Sunday lunch, and I entered the restaurant and I saw a lady sitting across from me, and she was smiling at me as if she knew me. I did not recognize her at all, but I smiled back, in a very friendly way. And then while I was eating my lunch, I could see every now and again she was kind of looking across, and you know I could have had this attitude. Oh, what is she looking at me about? Like, hello, would you please mind your own business, kind of thing. Look in your own table. But I didn't. When she smiled, I returned the smiles throughout the time while we were eating. And when I got up to leave, she said, "Are you Bernie?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "I am," whatever the name is. And she said, and I recognized the name because this person had been commenting and following me for years on social media. She said, "I've been following you for years, and I think you're so amazing. You're so inspiring." And I thought to myself, imagine if I had given her a dirty look. Imagine if I was rude. All those years of me building this reputation of loveliness would have been diminished in one fell swoop. Guys, so we've got to, like I said, we've got to always maintain our authenticity, our authentic self. That's a big part of being your own CEO. Okay? Now, another thing that I'd love to talk to you guys about is, say, for example, you have your company, yes, and you want to create that brand, that persona, that you print that you have established in yourself. What can happen is that you can come upon the little girl or little boy starting to feel intimidated by people who do not necessarily see things your way. You can sabotage your own self. Desire for approval can, cause you to stumble. Fear of not fitting in, rejection, fear of upsetting others, fear of standing out. All of these things can stop you from applying what you have come to understand to be true to you. So believe me, you've got to look out for it. Do not worry about that. Stand in your truth and do not budge. Of course, you have to listen to others, because one of the things that I'm all about is understanding the people that are around us. Yes, which is why it's important, if you have a business, that you recruit wisely. You're going to recruit people that are the same as you are. You've got to. Yes, similar, not the same personality, but hold the same values that you do. You also have to encourage them to not be managers, bosses, but to be inspirational leaders of their teams, so that they can spread that whole ethos throughout your company. So the very last person, the one who's delivering the mail, the one who's answering the door, the one who's at reception, they all mirror what you stand for. Guys, it's important, because if you don't do it, you know what will happen? If you do not do it, you're going to fall foul prey to the bullies. Remember I told you about that little girl with the bullies? If you do not stamp your own ethos on your company, the bully will. So your company it will take on the personality of the dominant person at any given time. You want your company to be done your way. If you do not, then your company will become erratic, imbalanced, inconsistent. Your recruitment will be ad hoc, and you will end in workplace disputes. And believe me, enough is being lost every year. Billions of pounds are being lost every year to absenteeism at work due to people taking time off for being sick, stressed, you know, all sorts of mental health issues because they have not dealt with the issue within the workplace, and it usually is down to poor management, misunderstanding, people misplaced in wrong roles, in wrong teams, because the head does not fully take on board the importance of knowing who they are, and the second thing of knowing who the people are that they work with. So I am here to tell you that it is equally important to understand who other people are. And by that I mean understanding the language they speak, the various personality types. I use this profiling to support that and to help me as tools for my teams, for my clients, to understand how they can work with all the various people, the various personality types, and come out with some amount of harmony and productivity, resonance, and success. Okay? Very important. Very, very important. And I've got to tell you something. You have got to also be very, very aware that you can slip up and you can forget. You can forget. And I actually did forget at some point in my own journey, and it almost cost me my business. I'll give you an example of what I mean. In 2012, myself and my husband, we bought a steakhouse in Neath. And in the back of the premises, there was another room which was empty, not being used, which was big enough to have a separate restaurant. So we decided to have a Jamaican version. So it was all decked up beautifully with cocktails, all sorts of colors, vibrant. I tell you, a very, very good job that was done in the back. And we kept the steakhouse to the front because we thought we didn't want to take the steakhouse from Neath. Well, 12 months after that, we almost lost the restaurant. And it was when we stopped and we thought about it, we thought, hang on a minute. When people walk from the steakhouse and go around to the back and they see it, what's the reaction that they have? They are like over the moon, they're excited, like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful, this is beautiful. But a lot of people didn't take that walk. They didn't realize it was back there. We weren't even promoting it properly. And do you know what we did? We then got rid of the steakhouse and turned the front offering into a Caribbean cocktail bar to complement the restaurant at the back. And I tell you, in no time, that business went from almost under to skyrocketing. It went national. People were coming from all over the United Kingdom down to our restaurant. And it developed into 3 locations between Neath and Swansea. And it also was awarded #1 Caribbean restaurant in Wales in 2019, and in 2018 it was top 100 restaurant in the entire Wales. I was also given an award in 2017 at the Senate for excellence in business based on my work as a restaurateur. Look how easily somebody like me, who for years before then kept hammering and hammering into people's heads the importance of understanding who they are and putting themselves and their uniqueness first. I did not get it, and I almost, so you can lose sight of it. So what you've got to do to help you not to do that, have a mentor, have coaches. Every coach needs a coach, every mentor needs a mentor. guys. So you need to always have that 360-degree feedback wherever and with whomever that you value, and get rid of the naysayers. So I just thought I'd put that in, because you can't just say you got it once. It has to be a way of life, a lifestyle. So let me go back into now. I'm going to give you some tools. So you've got the tools first of managing who you are, being your own CEO, is understanding who you are, discovering who you are, creating an authentic, purposeful, and intentional self, and maintaining that and taking responsibility for that. So you take responsibility for what you read, who you hang out with, always upskilling yourself, always motivating yourself. Yes, speak to yourself, look at yourself in the eye and say, come on, stop this. You have no time to be moaning. You have no time to be down. You can't afford that. Yes. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps sometimes. And if there are times that you feel you can't pull yourself up by the bootstraps, get a podcast in the ear for somebody who will pull you back up your bootstraps. Whatever you do. Sometimes you need to rest. Sometimes you have a downtime. You need to rest. But don't stay there. Get up. Get your refreshing, the power nap. Get up and keep going. And once you do that, yes, and you understand that, then you can do the same with your teams. Choose your teams wisely. Have a clear understanding of the culture. Write it down, for heaven's sake. It can't be all up here. Write it down. Have manuals. Have it clear. Have clarity. Because you cannot be micromanaging as a CEO of a big, large company. But if you choose your team wisely, who believes in your vision, you will incentivize them properly, and you have clear set parameters that they not only use for themselves, your inspirational leaders, but they also teach the people who come in what's expected. Then you're in for a good result, I think. Okay. Remember, I also said about the tools that you need to use to help you. Personality profiling helped me when I was practicing law in Jamaica, and I didn't like it. I wanted to leave it. I wanted to walk away from it. And I happened to do a personality profiling test, which told me that I really fit to be a lawyer. I was fit. I was like, okay, really? I wish it had told me something else. So I was like, okay, then, well, why am I not enjoying being a lawyer if it's supposed to be a fit? And my brother-in-law, who is older than me and is really a successful businessman, very wise, he said, why don't you set up your own practice then? Maybe that's what you need to do law your way. And I did. But even then, I didn't tweak. It took me years before I realized about this your way thing. But it worked. I did practice law my way. And as a result of that, I became so successful that that's how I got my connections with the United Kingdom. Okay, yes, be that, the fact is, yes, when I came, the people who I was supposed to be setting up this great collaboration with were not the people that I thought they were. But hey, it brought me here to the United Kingdom. I do not regret it, because I met my fantastic, wonderful husband here, and we are having a fantastic life together. And I'm doing great things here, because my thing is to serve people. When I say great things, I'm not saying that I'm great shakes. What I call a great thing is being able to do a great service for people. I'm proud to be working with the Welsh government on a project which at the moment is helping people from underrepresented communities, the BAME communities, females, disabled entrepreneurs, to scale up to multi-million-pound businesses. That is the kind of thing that I find to be incredible. Not how much money I'm making. Of course, yes, we all want to make money. But is making money the only end goal? I tell you, if making money is your only end goal, you're not going to be fulfilled in life. And you're not going to be your best self either. I challenge you to be your best self at your business if making money is the only thing that matters to you. It won't happen. Okay, so use your instinct as well. Be instinctive. I know there's personality profile, but be instinctive. Be instinctive with the opportunities that come your way. Not everything that looks like a good opportunity is a good opportunity. Be instinctive with the people you associate yourself with. Not everybody is who they appear to be. Yes, and most of all, be instinctive about yourself. Know yourself. Know when you're going down the wrong path. Know when your thought processes are starting to shift to the negative. Pull yourself back and head back around in the right direction. Okay? Now, I spoke about feedback earlier. It's very important to listen. All these people you're surrounding yourselves with, if you're surrounding yourself with the right people, then you need to listen to them because they'll help you grow. You can't see everything about yourself. Yes. So being your own CEO also means that you should take the opportunity when it's given to listen and to learn from others. Yes, and that's what I love about my relationship with Tracy, because we love each other, we love what we do, we love people, but we are very honest and we are always talking back and forth, 360 feedback, so we understand where we're at. Oh, and you know what you might be doing. She would say to me, Bernie, you're too quick to get upset, and I'll say, you know what, maybe I am too quick to get upset. Maybe I need to shut my mouth sometimes. She's like, no, she's gonna laugh when she sees this. But that's the truth. That's the truth. You need to have people in your life that you know love you enough to say, hang on a minute here. You think you want to look at this way of being? But I love you. But look at this way of being. So surround yourself with these people. Grow, grow, grow. And if you find that every day you're being told the same thing about yourself, you're not listening. Listening is not just taking something in. It's taking something in, considering it, and applying it. That's true management. That's true self-management. That's what being a CEO of yourself is and your life. And that's what will make you be an incredible CEO for the people that align themselves to your vision. Take ownership. Don't be a bull in a china shop. Yes? Please, whatever you do, it's not all about you. It is not all about you. Ask yourself, am I nurturing my clients? If I don't have a habit of nurturing myself, the likelihood is that I'm not going to nurture anyone. So it's important to first self-nurture, first be responsible for what we're doing to ourselves and for ourselves, and then pass that on to the people who associate themselves with us, align themselves to us. Okay? It's all about integrity. Own who you are, be clear, reinforce, monitor, take responsibility, and sometimes you might just have to walk away from some people because it's toxic. Some of you might be saying to yourself, oh yeah, I know that. Oh yeah, I think I know one or two people I need to walk away from. But before you walk away from somebody, think, is this person a positive person who is reinforcing positive change? Because if that is it, then you shouldn't walk away, you should listen. Right? But how will you know the difference, I can hear you asking, between the positive reinforcer for change and the critic? It is the spirit that you are told. Is the message uplifting, or has a message left you feeling awful, like nothing? If the message leaves you feeling awful and like nothing, then that's somebody you need to walk away from. Even if they're right, but their delivery, if they keep delivering like that in your life, you'll not be able to move on. So the people who will say, oh, maybe you think you want to look at this, but I think you're great. You know, I think you're wonderful at this other thing, but could you just look at this? That's the kind of people that we want. And that's the kind of person that we want to be. The kind of person we want to be is that person who will speak the truth, but do it with love. Always leading with love. Okay? And remember, your business will not surpass your own limitations. You are your best product. Invest in you. Invest in your team. Invest in your target market. And believe me, when you do that, you will find yourself not only in a position of power, you're owning who you are, but you'll also find yourself somebody to be sought after. You become a magnet, not just a magnate, for people who are positive, people who are doing the same thing, people who are winning in life, people who are making a difference in their corner of the world. That's where you'll find yourself. And believe me, I will leave you with this quote. It's my favorite quote from Julius Caesar. No, it wasn't the best outcome for Julius Caesar, was it? And, Brutus's statement was about something that we don't really think is really noble. However, I think this is relevant to my talk to you today. And that is, there is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood, lead unto fortune. On such a full sea, we are now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves, or lose our ventures. Like I said before, Brutus's venture to Julius Caesar wasn't the best. But what I'm suggesting to you now about taking ownership of being your own CEO, now is the time, right on the cusp of that wave in 2021, as we come out of this lockdown. Let's do it in an empowered state. Let's do it being in full command of our own lives as our own CEO. Thank you so much for listening.